My apologies, folks. I have been completely muted this entire time. And, yeah, I'm not going back to fix that now. So what I'm going to do is... Okay, so, sorry party people. This video is going to start a little abruptly for most of you. Because, unfortunately, I was muted for the last 15 minutes. Because I'm an idiot. I do apologize, but it is what it is at this point. And I will have edited the video down to start basically here. So to give you some background about this video, what had happened was that I had thrown this into the response pile and I had given a response in the thread. I only skimmed the video briefly to get a gist of what was happening, and I think, given some of the responses in the thread, that I may have missed a few things. That said, I have done this job, and as I pointed out, while there is a camera... Oh, now the thing isn't picking up my mouse. There is a camera just behind her right shoulder, if you look up by the light there. That may simply be there for employee security, or it may be there to prevent employee malfeasance, or both. In any case, the issue here seems to be that there's some sort of a problem with the key for this fella's room. And he's asking her to come help him sort it out. Now, I have just pointed out that it may simply be a matter of she needs to print him a new key. Most keys now are electronic key cards for hotels. So she can simply print him a new key, and if that doesn't work, he can come back and she can set him up with a different room. If, however, and again, there appear to be potentially extenuating circumstances mentioned in the video, so I've turned the video up a little bit, and I'll make sure the desktop audio is on so you guys can hear it. If there is a lot of echo, please do let me know in the comments or the chat. Though I don't believe anyone is actually in chat. I haven't seen any hellos. Also, my camera went out of focus, so let me just fix that really quick. Okay. I love it when that happens. Deactivate my camera. Activate it again. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so, until I go out of focus again anyway. In any case, we'll play the video. I'll pause it every now and again to give my thoughts, and then I'll look through the comments.
I could call my manager, see if he's available.
Okay, now when she mentions that she can call her manager to see if he's available, here's the issue, and I'm going to reread this piece here. Hotel front desk worker alone was asked by a guest to come to his room over a key issue. She refused, saying she wasn't comfortable. Now, she may very well not be comfortable going to someone else's room. There's also the possibility that she is meant to stay at that front desk and go nowhere else. That may be her exact job description. Apparently, she's going to call the manager, which is what she said. Now, the manager may have told her to call on occasion when something like this comes up so that he can come and sort things out. He may be a micromanager type. We don't know. Just a second. That looked a little loose. The manager told her to comply since he's a big client. Now, that piece of information is very important. If he's a big client, that means the manager's concern may be money over revenue over her safety. That's not the mark of a good manager. And I've had bad managers. And apparently she quit afterwards. So we'll see now what exactly is said in the video. So she's already said that she'll call her manager.
I could call my manager, see if he's available.
Well, you're going to have to, because you got my stuff locked in my room.
We feel you, for sure.
Okay, so his stuff is locked in his room, so his key is not working. Which means that at some point the key was working, because he was able to get into the room and deposit his stuff in there. So what this sounds like to me is a key failure. All she has to do is code him a new key. Maybe she's not aware she can do that. Maybe it comes up. We'll see.
Or we could call the police department and see if they could get in, if you'd prefer that.
And the other option is to call the police.
I don't really care. You just need to get me in that room to get...
And he says he doesn't really care. This sounds like he's more concerned with getting into the room than anything else.
my stuff out.
Yeah, I just gave you an option for that.
That's up to you. It's your responsibility, however you would like to do that.
For sure. Yeah, putting me in charge of your diabetic medication is definitely my responsibility.
Okay, she's a bitch.
Well, maybe you
that.
need to calm down a little bit. I also train customer service reps. One thing you always remember is the customer is right. So all of that.
Okay, I'm going to point something out. He says he trains customer service reps, and he says the words, the customer is always right. The entirety of that expression was the customer is always right in questions of taste.
Asking is you to get
Her laughing at him is unprofessional.
this department you can do with the manager. I do not care.
Also, I will point out that this isn't being filmed by the hotel's camera. This is being filmed by her phone.
Okay, so I can definitely go ahead and call non-emergency for you.
I don't care. You're going to pay the bill.
I'm definitely not.
No, you're
It's best. I'll
call
definitely
your
go
manager
ahead.
first is what I would do to get his okay to do whatever you're going to do. If I was in your position, I wouldn't take that responsibility.
Oh, no, for sure. If there was a manager available, he would probably
Okay, now she's changed her story. First, she said she was going to call her manager to see if they're available. Now she's saying there's no manager available.
be here right now. So being the only person here, like I said, I will go ahead and take this into the hands that I think is the most professional.
That's what you should do.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, for sure, for sure. So I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible for both of us. No, for sure. I just don't like that your first option was for me to go down there by myself to help you into
I
the
didn't
room.
care.
Yeah, his first option was for her to go down and help him get into the room. Probably because that's how he thinks, you know, the problem's at the door. Let's get somebody to come to the door and see if they can fix the problem. For example, she might have an override card.
I've had other
That
people-
was your first.
Well, because you were
response.
believing me that it was working.
No,
So
no, no.
I
Two
tell
rooms
you,
twice
I
for
didn't-
two different reasons,
Right.
and I don't like that
No, I don't like it either. I've never had that problem here.
for sure.
A lot of money here. every
I do
time,
know
and it
that.
is-
Yeah, I
and
do
it is a
work
good
here. I
place
do
to
know that.
stay.
Go ahead, and I will call and see what we can get done.
All right.
Sound good to you?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Rather not. I'm the only person here right now, so I can't do that. But I could call my manager, see if he's available.
Well, you're going to have to because
Did
you got
this
my
just
stuff
loop?
locked in my room. And
We feel you for sure. Or we could call the police department
Yeah, it sounds like it looped. Let's see.
for sure. If there was a manager available, know
it
that.
is-
Yeah, I
and
do
it is
work
a good
here. I
place
do
to
know.
stay. You just need to get me in that room to get my stuff out.
Yeah, I just gave you an option for that.
That's up to you. It's your responsibility, however you would like to do that.
For sure.
Yeah, she's a front desk attendant. There's no manager there. She's the acting manager. That's how chain of command works. He wants her to make a decision. She is trying to put the decision back on him. It's extremely female coded.
Yeah, putting me in charge of your diabetic medication is definitely.
Yeah, the sarcasm's completely unprofessional. And what he's doing when he points out that you have control of his diabetic medication is pointing out that he may shortly be in a life-threatening situation, and there needs to be a certain degree of urgency paid to his request.
My responsibility.
Well,
Do
maybe you
that.
need to calm down
Hang
a
on.
little bit.
Diabetic medication is definitely my responsibility.
Actually, it is. Technically, you're currently the controller of his domicile. In this position, you are, in fact, in charge of his medication, because his medication was left in a room that he was under the impression he would have free access to, thanks to the card or through a key or what have you. So yeah, it actually is your responsibility. Try to be less of a bitch. Now I understand why she quit. She's not suited to customer service.
Well,
do
maybe you
that.
need to calm down a little bit. I also
Oh.
train customer service reps. One thing you always remember is the customer is right.
Now, this is pointless. Him scolding her and saying that she's not a good customer service rep, it's pointless. You don't address that to that person. You address it to their management.
So all I'm asking is
The fact that she's laughing is egregious as hell.
you to get this department you can do with the
Now,
manager.
skip forward a little
No.
more.
So being the only person here, like I said, I will go ahead and take this into the hands that I think is the most professional.
Okay, so the impression given initially was that she refused, saying she wasn't comfortable, and her claim was that his first request was that she come and help him get into the room. She didn't have to respond as if she was being threatened with some sort of assault or something. Now, let's have a look through the threads here. here's where I had the problem. There's no point where the manager appears to say that she's to comply because he's a big client. I don't like deceptive posts. Sorry, Clown World. But here's why I have an anecdote to tell. It doesn't matter how much money someone throws around, you should never chance things like that. I was under the impression that he had done something to appear suspicious to her. It doesn't look that way. Now, here's the anecdote and the reasoning behind my reaction. When I was a bouncer, we had a manager who would attempt to allow one particular client to grope and behave as he felt because he spent a lot of money in the bar. I was very, very happy the first time I actually saw him lay hands on one of my friends to gently escort him out of the building. Yeah, and of course I was immediately upbraided by my manager. Oh, don't you know he spends $3,000 a night in here? And my exact response to her was, I don't fucking care. Nobody puts hands on my friends. And I had had other girls come to me afterwards and tell me that he had been groping them. He didn't come back to that bar. Oh, darn. I'll point out that I had been a bouncer at that point for about 3 months in that bar, had never seen him before. So if he's such a big spender, yeah. So we'll go through the thread of responses to me. Uncapped Turtle said it literally is the job, so now you are claiming women should not be doing this job. No. And I pointed out I'd be doing this response that I'm doing currently. I'm sure none of those people actually took the time to actually come into the chat, but that's fine. It literally is the job, so now you're claiming women should not be doing this job. No, not at all. What I was responding to was this line here. She says she's uncomfortable. Manager says to do it because she's a big client. Because he's a big client. That's where my issue came in. Now, at no point did she say she wasn't comfortable. She didn't want to leave her desk. And that's fine too. She may not be allowed to leave the desk. So you find an accommodation that suits both of you. You compromise. But as I said to someone else, it's literally her job. Except it's not. See, she could have, and someone else in the thread does point out, that she could have communicated with maintenance, for example. I had not watched the entirety of it, and yeah, she's a Class A bitch. But that said, there are better solutions that neither of them, from the carefully edited video, suggested. Yep. This is staggering similitude for this unfuckable land whale. Not surprising, I guess. Well, you're free to watch the video. You're free to watch my response on my current stream. There you go. Have fun. Let's see. That's bait? No, not really. Chance what? Getting him back into his room where his medication is stored? Are you retarded? This is the stupidest fucking thing ever. It's your fucking job to let somebody in the room. Not in person. That's part of the reason these electronic key cards were created, was so that you didn't have to have somebody leave the desk where the money is and go to a room that could be significantly distant from the front desk. The key doesn't work. I think the hotel guest should have to go sleep in his car. No, that's unkind to say the least. And I will point out again that call the police for a welfare check. That's an option. I wouldn't suggest it as your first choice. She definitely should have called the manager and didn't. At least as far as the video shows. So, yeah, the issue here appears to be that she's a bitch, and he's actually completely in the right. Though, I understand why a single woman, left alone, to, for one thing, stand steward over money, would not want to leave that post. So, yeah. And someone here did say, let me see here. I'll go back one step. 100% in the right. Don't ever feel pressured when you don't want to do something. And Clown World agreeing is interesting because I'm wondering if Clown World watched the video now. She was 100% right. No, she wasn't. That's the problem. This person also didn't watch the video, and that's part of the reason why I point out you don't jump on a story right away. That's my bad in this case. Bots in these comments are blocked. It's her job. If she don't feel safe, maybe she should work daylight shifts and not night ones. I mean, yeah. If you're not comfortable as a single woman alone at night, definitely. Don't do a job that forces you to be a single woman alone at night. She wasn't wrong at all. Yes, she was. Post is misleading and just wrong. You're really a clown. The guest only asked her to go to the room because she said she doesn't believe his key wasn't working. At no point did we see that she said she doesn't believe him. Why didn't she just issue him new keys? Why tape the interaction? Seems like she's the problem here, not the guest or the manager. No, well, the manager's definitely a problem too. If she contacted him and he or she said, I'm not coming, and essentially gave them no other option. It's fair that no employee should ever feel pressured to compromise their safety, and her decision to quit reflects courage and common sense. No, her decision to quit was probably not really a decision to quit. I would suspect that she was fired after this interaction was made known. He even clarified when she said, you wanted me to go by myself to check the card, and he said, because you weren't believing me that it wasn't working. Oh, okay, I didn't hear that part. It's obvious he wasn't being a creep. Yeah. Now, it may be that he was giving off a creepy vibe. I mean, fuck, look at me. I can do something perfectly innocent and be thought bad of. She probably doesn't like him given he's a frequent guest there. Maybe. She won't rekey the card, she should be fired. Absolutely. If the manager doesn't like that a woman was afraid to do this, then hire a male for night shift. Women shouldn't be working those shifts, late shifts in hotels alone. They shouldn't. If someone comes in, for example, drunk, or in some form of inebriation, and gets aggressive, for example, say they go to the wrong room, come back and say, hey, my card's not working. Then, for example, if this woman had said, well, I don't believe you that it's not working, it should work, then they might have gotten physically aggressive, and what's she going to do to defend herself? I do agree, prioritizing a big client over basic employee safety is gross mismanagement. However, we don't know that that was what was done here. She protected herself. Well, no, actually, it doesn't seem like she protected herself. It seems like she filmed herself being an absolute bitch to somebody that she didn't trust. And it's fine not to trust people. It's probably one of the better options in today's society. That said, she didn't need to be a cunt either. And it's very possible she is a lazy bitch who doesn't want to do her job. Let's see. Stayed in many hotels, locked my key in my room numerous times. They always just made me a new key. Yeah, I don't understand why she didn't do that. That's the thing. If this is a repeat client, then it's someone who has built trust with the company, with that specific hotel. In that case, even if you're not normally supposed to print a second key, just print a second key, hand it to them and say, here, try this. If it doesn't work, come back, let me know. We'll call maintenance, figure it out. This is not difficult stuff. A terrible attitude by her, absolutely. When she enters the room, yeah, no, probably not, actually. He didn't ask her to come to the room, or into the room. He asked her to come to the door, because he couldn't get the door open. Yeah, they automatically reprogram it or give you a different card. None of this should involve her going to his room. Yep. Her attitude is horrible. Why is this even a question? She shouldn't have been allowed to quit. She should have been fired. The only person we have to take her word that she quit is, Clown World, who posted this. And, her. If she was feeling that uncomfortable, she could have called the manager and kept them on the line as she assisted with the door like she is paid to do. That's assuming the phone can be actually taken away from the front desk. What hotel uses metal keys, not card keys? No, I don't think that was the issue at all. Let's see. Crazy the hotel operates without a nighttime maintenance person. That's actually not that unusual. 2-decade-long hotel general manager. Nope, team member was correct. If I'm there and she isn't comfortable, I'll go to the room. Well, yeah, I would agree, but here's the problem. She wasn't correct. If you had watched the whole video, as a longtime hotel general manager, you can see how shitty the customer service is here. And to be fair, if this guy is potentially approaching a diabetic emergency, that's even more reason to have a guy on staff, because, like it or not, people who have diabetic emergencies occasionally do get violent. I've seen that happen with my friends. But in any case, maybe I'm the asshole. Okay, moving on. From Josh Dunlap, this man was a high school football star until he got charged with the rape of a 16-year-old girl. The charge was eventually dropped after the 16-year-old girl confessed that the rape never happened. Unfortunately, he spent 6 years falsely imprisoned and broke down when the case was moved to be dismissed. Do you think this girl should face any consequences? Abso-fucking-lutely. And if so, what? 6 years incarceration seems like a good fucking start, and a shitload of remuneration to him. Hell yes. The word of a child. At 16, you were expected to be capable of telling the truth. 6 years in prison for her eye for an eye. I kind of agree with Adrienne. I was following Adrienne for a while. I'll start following her again. I don't know if maybe I unfollowed her for some reason or not. In theory, yes. In practice, no. If a woman lied about you and you ended up in jail, the chances of the woman confessing is near zero if she's going to have to swap spots and spend years in prison. This is one of those unintended consequences things. It's a fair point. But how would you make it right? There's no way to make it right. She should be charged to spend at least the same 6 years that he spent in prison. Maybe 12 years on probation. I don't know. Disqualification from any sort of government job. I really don't know. Though, to be fair, it would cut down on false claims if the person making a false claim was under the impression that they might actually face charges. Now, you can flip that around, too, that if someone doesn't think they can make it stick, and they were actually raped, maybe they won't say anything. There are other options in that case, too, though. Before we get into the politics stuff too much, let's see what else we've got here. That's pretty good. More customer service thing. Let's see. Gods, I've got a lot of political shite. Oh, okay. A couple more funny ones then. Where'd the other one go? Oh, don't tell me I don't have it anymore. That's a shame. Okay, let me check something really quick here and see if I can find it again. Here we are. Okay. Grab that link and post that there. Now, while you guys are looking at this link, I'm going to dig up a different link because it actually goes right alongside it. Okay, we'll come back here now. Christian Weltanschauung, dist gadfly. This formula for a winning headline chooses powerful images. Florida man equals insanity inbound. Waffle House equals anticipation that literally anything can happen, but baptized alligator was still unexpected. A Florida man was arrested for attempting to baptize an alligator in a Waffle House using a pitcher of iced tea. Holy fuck, Miami-Dade is a wild fucking place. And I didn't have any reply to that. And then, of course, shortly after, this one also from Clown World, A Florida woman was arrested for wrestling a manatee in a bikini at a public park. Again, I point out, Miami-Dade is a fucking wild place. Also, the fact that this happened on fucking Valentine's Day weekend, perfect. And, yeah, my response, it's probably buried, but my response was basically, okay, which one of them was wearing the bikini? Was it her, or was it the manatee? Kind of makes you wonder. Let's see, what else have we got for non-political stuff? I don't want to do the political stuff right away yet. This one. I like this one, though there is a degree of mixed signaling in the thread. So I'm going to pause this here, scroll this back. Again from Clown World. Man gets offered $100,000 to quit his restaurant job and says no, stays loyal and ends up getting rewarded anyway. Would you quit for $100,000? We'll watch the video and then you guys can tell me what you think. It's only 30 seconds.
You quit your job right now for $100,000 cash.
People here today, I'll leave them like suffering.
The way you handle the situation and the empathy you have for the team members, just the way you reacted to it is just something that we're grateful to have you as part of our team. Thank you. The Pollo Loco.
Oh, no.
Give you a check for $20,000.
Okay, so, was this a setup by the company? If it was, then I start to wonder, was that money even real? Flip that over. He was offered $100,000 to quit a fast food job, turned it down, and got $20,000 as a check. And one assumes that his loyalty will be further rewarded in the future. One assumes. Now, we'll have a look through the thread. And I said, I respect the loyalty, but I think I'd have told the guy with $100,000 to come back later. Either that or taken the money and finished my shift. His stated reason was because he didn't want to leave people in the lurch. So, yeah, I'd reach out, go, yeah, okay, sure, no problem. Take the money, ensure that it was real, and then go, okay, I'll be quitting at the end of my shift. Right? Or I'll give my 2 weeks notice today. Right? He could have been $80,000 richer. What's the logic in this? 20K should have quit. I can't quit. I've tried numerous times. They still call me mom. That's not a job, sweetheart. That's a duty. And you made the choices that put you there. Meanwhile, at McDonald's, man works for 21 years there. They gave him a bike. Yeah. People are missing the point here. He didn't refuse the money due to company loyalty. He refused the money because he didn't want to leave his 2 co-workers, and likely 2 of his friends, to have to get shit on the rest of their shift. 2 people to take orders, cook food, bag food, clean is crazy. His loyalty wasn't to the restaurant, it was to his co-workers. Forget the money for a second. Most people would dream to have a co-worker who cared about his co-workers this much. And yeah, I've worked a bunch of different types of jobs. And I can tell you, it's always the people that you work with that make the job enjoyable or not enjoyable, no matter what the job is. That said, you could have given your bros $10K each. You could have just shut the place down. Right. Also, where the fuck's your manager? If there's only 3 of you on shift and you're supposed to have, I don't know. Let's find out. What is the standard number of employees at a Pollo Loco per shift? Excuse me. Yeah. Let's see. Standard. Holy shit. Entry-level roles scheduled in 5 to 8 hour shifts. Okay, so 8 is 3. The number it's given me is 20 to 45 associates per location. So if we divide by 3, then the minimum number of people that should be staffing a restaurant at any time is 7. Maybe 6. That means they were operating with half the staff they normally would. Oof. Yeah, I understand why you did want to bounce. Staffing levels are adjusted dynamically, with some locations operating with as few as 3 to 4 employees during low traffic periods, which has been reported as a challenge by some employees. So, yeah, El Pollo Logo is not really great for their staff either. So the fact that this chick did this with that $20,000 check is a bit of a slap in the face to everybody else who works for the entire corporation. Philip Juarez, he's a kind soul, huge gamble. Place could have gave him nothing. I would have quit on the spot. They would have been fine. I would have even said, hey, I'm quitting, close up for the day. I'll give the store $1,000. That would make up for it. Probably not. If it's a busy location, I've worked for fast food places where on a busy shift, just a shift, mind you, not a whole day, just the shift, $8,000 to $10,000 was not an uncommon number to pull in. Bro, it's fast food. Take the $100K. Yeah, the perspective here is a bit strange. Young fella though, so I understand. The dude makes it sound like cancer patients are depending on him for survival. Not really. This is a bit of a stretch in the opposite direction. Oh yeah, let me just quit my job, my insurance, and my routine for a cool $100K. What could possibly go wrong? Dude, it's $100,000. You can cover your needs for a significant amount of time with $100,000, especially if you're either a bit wise with your money. Is this type of retarded contagious? A few years salary for his age or job. He could have gotten a job elsewhere. People aren't suffering if he's not at work today. Is this weird? It feels a little set-up-y. Respect for loyalty. Yeah, absolutely. Loyalty to a company that will replace you in 2 weeks is a strategy that only works in movies. Take the $100K every single time. Not every single time. Companies don't reward loyalty. They exploit it. Well, I mean, he did get the $20K. Plot twist. It was a fake challenge to make him look good in front of his boss. Possible, too. How likely is it that some random kid in a car is going to give you a real $100K in cash? If you take it, people will see it on the internet and you'll have a target on your back. Wow. Just the paranoid type, aren't you? Thrive Life. Also, he wouldn't know all the legal ramifications that come with it. How much would that be in taxes, etc.? Maybe he has a subsidized house or whatever. Could lose it because of it. Yeah, fair point. Take $100K, give your coworkers a K each for that one hard shift. See, everybody seems to be thinking, take the money and bolt. I think my solution was far more elegant in light of a lot of this. You could take the money and say, yeah, thanks for the money. I will quit at the end of this shift, because I'm not leaving my friends in the lurch. Or I'll give my 2 weeks today. The probability of that $100K being real was almost zero. That's a fair point. And I will point out, we also couldn't see the face of the challenger. So, hard to say. There's a very good point here from Steve Smith as well. They gave him a year's pay when he could have taken the $100K, got an education or trade, and had a better life. Yeah. But then he could also end up managing that location. Oh, I didn't notice they were Sour Patch Kids. Dude still got ripped off. Only proves loyal is nothing to that company. You give me $100K tax-free, I'd quit immediately. I was looking for a job when I took it. I'd sure quit after they didn't even match it, after I just put my loyalty on display. You don't display loyalty to make money out of it. Offered prop money and got a real $20K check. True. Definition of good guys finished last. He was $100K to quit. I mean, seriously, is this a joke? Barry clearly doesn't have a good grasp of how money works. You get $100K, great, but then what? You literally need a new job. Dude, he's working fast food. If it's a very busy fast food place, it means he's in a fairly large center, which means he's not going to have a hard time getting another job. I would have been back to work the next week. Yeah, he was a good guy for staying, but he'd have $100,000 that would give him time to find another job and maybe get that job back. A little painful to watch. Rejection of the offer. It'll take him 3 years to make the other $80K. Okay. For the record, if $20K is what he makes in a year, it's going to take him another 4, not 3. Your math is not mathing. Yeah, he didn't miss out. The 100K is probably fake anyway. Let's see. It would be nice if corporations didn't abuse loyalty. It's true. Let's see. Climbing out the window. I would quite literally say, prove to me the money is real. But yeah. I hire seasonal at entry level. If it was legit, I would have told him to take it. Yep. I blame poor math skills, but admire their loyalty. Let's see. Said no to 100K. Still works at Mackey's. Well, it's El Pollo Loco, but still. I have to check my chat, make sure it's still working properly. Yep, okay. Nobody else popped in. Good. Let's see. Whole thing looks staged. I don't know about the whole thing, but I suspect this may have simply been a sneaky way to give him a scholarship. There's the word I was looking for. This may have been a sneaky way to give him a scholarship. Who knows? It wasn't McDonald's he was working for. I think people realize money is everything, but in this situation, he's happy with the life that he lives, so you can't really judge for anybody for their decisions. Okay. Would have walked right out of the window. He only stayed because there was 3 people there. Imagine if there had been 5 or 6 people working at that time, he definitely would have quit for $100,000. You don't know that. Somebody in the comments here also said that, you know, you've got $100,000 you're set up for a couple of years. 2 years? What the fuck do you do that you spend $50,000 a year? Right. And I will point out, this is a young guy. What the fuck? Let's see, what else do we have here? Am I forced to start the political stuff yet? I don't think so. I think I have one more. Actually, two more, I think, before I have to start. Okay. Gonna have to start the political stuff somewhere, I guess. So it'll have to be here. And I'll ease us into it if I can. So why young women avoid the clubs and bars? Not that I'd call that a young woman, but okay. Let's see. Why young women avoid the clubs and bars? Source. Young women told me this is why they avoid the clubs and bars. This is what our government did to Canada, enabled by Liberal voters.
Everywhere I fucking go, you Indians are fucking everywhere.
Okay, so that's not a young woman, first off. Second of all, yeah, she's 40. I used her as an example for the reason women don't show up at bars. And this is true, yeah. The Indians are known for being aggressive, let's say. Speaking of young women, I missed this one. But this one is from the Voice of God, Pure Metatron. Great follow on X. Great follow on YouTube, too, for that matter. Like every woman on planet Earth, she looks better with no makeup or very minimal makeup. This is from the Grift Report. This picture of actress Sydney Sweeney has gone viral for her wearing no makeup, with trolls calling her ugly. Personally, I think she looks pretty and prefer the no makeup look. What about you? Well, first off, she's not wearing no makeup. She does have lipstick on. It does look like she's wearing some eyeliner and probably brushed her or penciled her eyebrows a little bit. That said, oops, that makes up for it. But, yeah, I did point out she looks healthier with no makeup on. And if that's no makeup, like if she's not wearing a foundation, for example, she does look significantly healthier without the makeup on. Yeah, let's see the photos of the people calling her ugly. Yeah, apparently trolls are calling her ugly. Let's have a look in the thread of the actual post. I think most guys would agree that they prefer girls to be natural. I completely understand that makeup is also about giving girls confidence, so I have to respect that. Yeah, the makeup isn't for the guys. Weirdly tanned, but otherwise still gorgeous. Yeah, she is kind of shiny tanned, isn't she? Probably spent the day on the beach or something. Lucky bitch. I wish I was in California where it could be warm all day. Are the trolls female or gay? Yes. I'm sure Sydney will be so pleased you think that. I'm sure she would. Listen, Sydney, if you're out there and you didn't have a date on Let's see. Some women need that makeup to look beautiful. Sydney Sweeney is one that doesn't. Federal judge orders Sydney Sweeney to gain 100 pounds and get one of those bitch haircuts. God, she's ugly. Says who? Tarkin. I don't know who that is. Though I suspect I should, because that actually does sound familiar. Her nose is too big. Really? Personally, I think Costa Rica could feed herself up a little bit, but that's me. I like a little bit of, yeah. Makeup is always better and timeless. No, it's not. See, these are Hollywood production makeup faces. Okay, a professional makeup artist did these. Don't fall for that shit. Would not insider. Okay. God, she's ugly, says Tarkin, and she's jealous. Oh, hang on. I didn't see this chick. Let's, oh yeah, she does not look happy. She's in great shape, too. Okay. Anyway, I can ogle Sydney Sweeney all day, or I can go through my show. Got a choice, guys? Why do people keep editing the photo? This is the original. Oh, really? Except it's not, because this bitch is not looking at her anymore. The trolls. They're just jealous of good things. Sydney, with or without makeup, looks like a simple country girl with the breasts of a dairy cow. She's wrong to rely on her looks in her career. Her career is all about her looks. She's an actress in Hollywood. It's all about the looks. Come on, dude. You don't think it's all about the craft of acting when somebody looks like that, do you? You think that's why she gets hired? Because she's got acting skills? Yeah, is the black or the red the original color? Yeah, see, another edit of the image. So, she's wearing a full face of makeup here. Anyone who thinks otherwise has never slept with a single woman in their life. Now, I'm not 100% certain that she is actually wearing makeup, because she's pretty shiny. So, I don't know. But that might be something that they're doing to... This is her face without makeup to straight men. Yeah, and? Of course she's pretty, but that isn't her with no makeup. This is her with no makeup. That's a terrible angle if that's actually what her jaw and ear look like. Maybe if she was starving herself for a role? Yeesh. You think she doesn't wear any makeup here, really? Okay, well, maybe she is wearing makeup. Butterface contest back in 2004. Oh, that is Sydney Sweeney. Huh, what do you know? Let's see. Here's the gal that cannot pull off the no makeup look. Megan, yeah. Oh, fuck. You will live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. Like, who the fuck is that for? This is not the original photo, which was first published in July 2024 or earlier. Okay. Of course, she is wearing makeup in the photo, however, there is no professional lighting. It also looks as if she has a slight sunburn. Oh, okay, yeah, so she probably did spend the day on the beach. She might not be wearing foundation then, because when I sunburn, I get fucking shiny too. Whether she's wearing makeup or not, who cares? She's still a gorgeous woman. This one from Bearing I wanted to bring up before we go any further, since we're talking about women. This actually sickened me severely. Pause this. I mean, you should never hit a woman, but... And this is from Vamp, Drew Holland. What the fuck? I will warn you, there is some violence in this, and it's not from the guy.
Tell him about the bitch you was texting. Tell him.
I wasn't texting nobody.
Tell him.
I wasn't texting nobody, guys. I promise. I promise.
Say thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Hold the camera right. Let them see.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to point out a few things here. Let's back it up to about here. That is not a residential door closer. So this is probably a hotel room. Which kind of reinforces what I said. I hope he paid a lot for that. Yeah, I assume that's his kink. It's probably both their kinks. Bearing never said anything about suplex. No. I do like the Nerd Zerker. I'm following him, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay. Women do this because they don't know how much stronger men are. No, no. That's either something they've done intentionally as a put-on, or it's a kink thing. Yeah, she's an e-whore, he's a simp who pays to be treated like that. That's possible too. There are other videos of her doing similar shit to this dude and others here on Twitter. Yeah. Okay. So from Australia, we will go to the UK. Let's see. We have from my friend Newsfist. Actually, we'll start with the EU to be less specific. From my friend Newsfist, we have, and you can find Newsfist at Malinformed TV on X. Also, I believe Newsfist on YouTube and Rumble. Ursula wants total war. Ursula von der Leyen wants European domestic vehicle producers to start making tanks, planes, and artillery for war. These people are clearly insane.
We need to tear down the rigid wall between the civilian and defense sector.
When was the last time I heard somebody with a Germanic accent saying something like that?
Europe is a powerhouse for car manufacturing, aerospace, and heavy machinery. We should not look at these industries as purely commercial.
Yeah, they should be nationalized, right, Ursula?
But as core to the defense and the defense value chain.
That feels slightly fascistic. And I'm not a leftist. If I use the word fascist, I mean it. And yeah, I responded to Newsfist with, look, the elites don't care how many white people have to die for them to get their war money. It's quite probably true. Okay. We are in the EU, so let's stay in Europe. Oof. Yeah, this one's bad. From Finland. From Bruce Barrett, vigilante justice is inevitable. Well, it's certainly starting to look that way. Sex with 10-year-old is not rape, says a Finnish Supreme Court. The Finnish Supreme Court has upheld a ruling that sex between an asylum seeker and a 10-year-old girl did not constitute rape. The court said that there was no evidence to suggest that the sexual encounter involved violence. The prosecution had demanded harsher sentence for the accused, who had been handed a 3-year jail term by lower courts. An asylum seeker had sex with a 10-year-old, and yet it's not rape and there was no violence involved. Yeah, I'm gonna push X to doubt real hard on that one. Yeah, it's understandable if it ends up resulting in vigilante justice. So readers added a note. This is missing important context. The crime happened in 2016 and the Supreme Court decision came in 2018. This caused an uproar which led into making the laws more strict. The new sexual offenses law came into force in 2023, where sex under 16 years old is always rape. So Finland simply hadn't updated their apparently medieval laws of consent. Anything else I have from Europe? Outside the UK? Don't think so. No, okay. So, going to the UK, our boy, Sargon, has made a decision here. Apparently, Carl Benjamin has joined Restore Britain. And Basil the Great says, let's go. Let's see. Carl leading the fight for remigration, foretold in episode 2. Oh god, somebody's got James Lindsay in here.
Through intense meditation, he unlocked the ability to see the hidden woke world. Now...
I will point out that James Lindsay, the Steven Seagal of political discourse, is a longtime lol cow for my friend Newsfist and Artie. That's rhetorically defective. You should check out their streams. They do them every Friday night, and I'm the mod. You fuck around in there, I'll smack you upside the head with a band hammer faster than you can blink. Or I'll be sneaky and you won't even see it coming. Okay, so the British Patriot says, breaking, Britain First has stood down in favor of Rupert Lowe's new political party, Restore Britain. Leader Paul Golding is quoted as saying, we wish them all the best. We won't stand against them in any elections. We all want mass deportations. What do you think about this? I'm here for it. John says Patriots are uniting under one banner. Hi, John, by the way. I doubt you're watching, but hi anyway, if you are. Jonathan Wong is also another great follow over on Twitter at WongThink. What was he saying and thinking 5, 10, 20 years ago? Well, that's what research is for. Why ask the general internet that question when you could quite easily open, well, your own Twitter app and ask what he was saying about things that time back? I guess he's got a reputation as a woman beater. Whatever. Patriotic move. True patriot showing it's about the country and not personal glory. Paul has done what almost every politician lacks the courage to do, put his country first. It's not about courage. In a lot of cases, it's either their agenda doesn't mesh with the good of the country or they just don't care. Anything to make Britain safe for the owners of the land. It's not owners, it's natives. The word you want to use is natives. The right is now finally uniting behind Rupert the Lion Lowe. Hear ye, UK has been colonized. Honorable politics, putting country first. Yeah. As I pointed out yesterday, in yesterday's show, hearing Rupert Lowe use the word duty appropriately, non-ironically, and not as a means of slapping someone else down, it's a good start. Restore Britain says, deport millions of third worlders, they hate Britain. Reform UK, ban working from home. Oof. I'm past the point of wanting to deport the illegals. I want to deport the people who want them here too. I agree in the first part. The second part, not so much. Yeah, I agree with Vlad. Bad neighbors make great fences. A new contestant in the game of political musical chairs. Let's be real, if their best idea is mass deportations, they might as well just throw a how not to win friends party. Good luck with that one. Yeah, Ronald, you may discover that your prediction is incorrect here. What else have we got for the UK? We got that retard. And I think that might be the last retard for the UK. Canadian. Okay. We have one more piece of retardation from across the pond. I think this is a little older. So, yeah. But it's important that we respond to things like this when we see them because, well, it's just important. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating. The fuck? Hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. The notion that best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. Racist. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based oppression is perpetuated. Now, that meat eating and the hamburger thing, they come kind of hand in hand, but this bitch be crazy.
Hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief.
I'm going to guess this was just clipped out. I really would love to hear her reasoning on how the belief that the best protein comes from an animal carcass, I'm not saying corpse, fuck off, from an animal carcass is racist. How she got to that conclusion must have been one of the most labyrinthine, illogical, irrational thought processes ever.
21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism.
Eating animals is colonialism. Oh, man.
Our whiteness is part of the problem of...
Lady, you don't look all that white. And even if you are, fuck off. Listen for the click.
Meat eating. If you eat animals, you take up more climate space.
Look at the size of me. I take up all the climate space I need to. Fuck you, bitch.
Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Men in the West are taunted to renew their man card by eating meat because that's what real men do.
No, that's what real humans do. We understand that our evolutionary processes created us to be omnivores. Dolt.
That's the sexual politics of meat, and it reveals
How many grandchildren do you think this bitch sees in the run of the day?
how unsettled masculinity really is. Hamburger.
Oh my god. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating. There's a fuck ton of weirdness to unpack there. Also, that was from Concerned Citizen. B. Gates is a psycho. Let's have a look. Stupid bitch. Yeah. Your post has been rated 3 Kamalas and 1 AOC for how stupid it is. Yeah, double face palm. The gas coming from our cows ain't nearly as dangerous as the bullshit coming from our politicians. Also true. And deliver us from white liberal white women. My silence does not mean I agree with you. Your stupidity has simply rendered me speechless. I eat twice as much meat just so one vegan that thinks they're making a difference is actually making no difference at all. Yeah. I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm just saying that if we were attacked by brain-eating zombies, she'd be safe. Let's see. Liberalism is a religion of self-hatred. It teaches white people to hate their race, boys to hate their sex, women to hate their femininity, Americans to hate their country, Westerners to hate their history and their society and their civilization. What a loathsome poisonous thing it is. Yep, and I'll actually repost Snowflake Slayer. Do I follow him? No. Let's see. Sure, why not? Sane, batshit crazy. Oh, definitely not sane. I see dumb people. Yep. When something is so absurd that even Spock laughs at it. Yeah. Excuse me, I think you dropped this. For those of you who don't know, that's a crack pipe. Actually, I think that might be a meth pipe. I'm not 100% sure. I never smoked either one of them, so. Yes, continue to tell us who you are. Yeah. Peasant-based diet. Don't eat the peasants. That actually might be more of an appropriate thing to say than I thought it was yesterday. That just sounds like libertarian with extra steps. Get these fucking idiots out of here already. Yeah, that's another thing too. That's the Oxford or Cambridge. I forget which, but it's either the Oxford or Cambridge debate space. Wow. Way over there is where you go with that bullshit. No, what you tell her is, listen, why don't you take your bullshit and fuck off? When you get to off, turn 90 degrees, continue fucking off until you can't fuck off any further. Then turn 90 degrees in the opposite direction from your first, and continue to fuck off. What's this? Flogger with cocks of pepperoni. Well, I've just had this, and it was beautiful. Grass-fed sirloin steak. God damn, that does look good. Oh, it's fries. I'd pass on the peas, though. I'm not a pea guy. I can eat them, and I'll put them in other things. Like I can eat, say, Chinese fried rice with peas, but peas, no, not by themselves. A soup with peas in it is fine. If there was a challenge to use every totem of woke ideology in under 5 minutes, she won. Actually, I think I've seen at least part of this particular debate significant amount of time ago, and it took her significantly more than 5 minutes to get to the point of ticking every box of that. Conrad says, I am carefully pondering whether she suffers from Victorian-era female hysteria over a greasy fried egg, bacon, and cheese sandwich. That actually does look really good, though I think that's a burger. Yeah, she's nuts. Does this have sound? Okay. The actual fuck. Bugger off, you off-putting twat. Okay, what else do we have from the UK? Anything? No. So next we'll jump over to the States. This one. This is kind of amusing and kind of surprising. Watch the video closely. You'll see her reaction to her own words. I'll pause this here. This is from Kevin Sorbo, I think. No, Unlimited L's. Sorry. New York substitute teacher suspended after telling a black student, keep your cotton-picking hands to yourself. This incident happened during an 8th grade class in the Burnt Hills Ballston Lake Central School District. It's New York State, I assume. District leaders said they launched an investigation and removed the substitute from the roster. Let me see, where am I? I did respond to this. I believe I said something along the lines of, this used to be a fairly common expression. I don't see what the problem is. Well, actually, I asked the question, why is this considered offensive?
Keep your cotton picking hands to yourself.
Now, she didn't react until the kids did. Those kids were never fucking slaves, so they were never forced to pick cotton, for one thing. Her reaction, she claps her hands over her own mouth, because she just realized what she said. But she didn't care until after she'd said it, and thought about what she had just said. And she's not apologizing immediately, she's just laughing. I will point out, the implication here is that she is referencing slavery. Not necessarily. And just for the sake of finding out, where did the phrasing... Oops. Cotton picking originate? If it did originate with slavery, I'd be shocked. Initially as a... Okay. Cotton picking originated in the southern states in the late 1700s, initially as a literal term describing the labor-intensive task of harvesting cotton. It referred directly to the physical hardship of manual cotton picking, a job historically performed by enslaved people and later sharecroppers. Over time, the phrase evolved into a figurative intensifier, used as a euphemism for damned or damn, especially from the 1940s. So, basically, it's a substitute for motherfucking. Keep your motherfucking hands to yourself. Keep your cotton-picking hands to yourself. That's the intent, is to swear without swearing, to use a profanity without using a profanity. I'm not quite sure what the actual proper term for that is. The expression gained wider popularity through Hollywood and media, notably via Bugs Bunny in the 1950s, particularly in the catchphrase, "Wait just a cotton pick a minute." However, its roots are deeply tied, of course they are, deeply tied to racist and derogatory language used during the era of slavery and Jim Crow, where cotton picking was often used as a racial slur to demean black individuals. I've never heard it used as a slur against blacks, ever. Ever. And I'm 50 years old. Yeah. Let's see. There might actually be a sensible Democrat. I know. It shocked me too. And it's even more shocking that it turns out to be fucking Fetterman. Sorry, Fetterstein. Sorry. Every time. I can't help myself. So this is from Gunther Eagleman. Senator John Fetterman just begged his fellow Democrats, please don't do the weird protests during Trump's State of the Union this month. It made us look like children. Have some dignity. Don't put up those silly paddles and weird protests. Okay. So we'll check this out, and then we'll have a quick flick through the comments.
I do plan to attend, and I hope that this year they don't put up those silly paddles and all those kinds of weird protests. That's like, you don't have to agree with whatever you're going to hear, but like last year, I mean, it just made us look like children, and just exactly. Yeah, thank you. I can see you're referencing that. It's just like, show up or not, but just do that kind of...
There's a certain degree of irony to someone telling people to be more professional when he wears a hoodie to work. I know. To be fair, there's not even an unspoken dress code for streamers, so you guys are lucky I'm wearing a shirt. Hello, ladies.
Thing, and like, have some dignity, and just we can agree or disagree and not call people names or behave in such ways like that.
We'd all be a lot better off if we acted in that manner.
No, I do.
Okay, so let's have a scroll through the comments. Holy crap, Representative Tim Burchett just dropped the ultimate irony on the House floor. 213 Democrats just used their photo ID to vote against photo IDs in elections. You truly cannot script this. They had to show ID to vote against showing ID. The hypocrisy is wild. Yeah, that's crazy. Why can't you just be normal? Yeah, who would have thought? Yep. Is that Pramila Jayapal again? Yeah. I keep getting her confused with Hirono, but I shouldn't. Different skin tone and everything. I never thought Fetterman would end up being the smartest man in the Democrat Party. No, he's got a point. Yeah. Dear Dems, please use the silly paddles again. How about green this year? Thanks. Sincerely, everyone on X. Yeah. Democrat Senator John Fetterman blasts party brand as toxic. Cautioned the Democratic Party policies may be hazardous to your health. I'm waiting with bated breath to see what color the ladies are going to wear in unison to protest Trump this time. Stunning and brave. Yeah. Are these the folk? What's this say here? Let me full screen this page. See if that blows up a bit. There we go. How did I end up sitting with these losers? She's with stupid. I'm with stupid. They're both sleeping. I'm going to need stronger eyelash glue. Oh, Mr. Obama, don't stop. Oh, Hillary, don't stop. When can I go pee? We'll shill for money. Oh, Mr. Obama, don't stop. Oh, God, that's terrible. I should be ashamed of myself, and yet somehow I'm not. Weird, silly, looks like children, dignity. Yeah. That's pretty bad when John Fetterman is calling you out for your lack of dignity. You can't fix stupid. That's true, but you can adjust it with the right tools. I just need a really big hammer. Let's see. We'll start with Canada with a slightly more retarded note. This is interesting. Turns out beef in Canada is way more expensive than Canadian beef in Vietnam. Canadian beef in Canada, $27 to $33 a pound. In Vietnam, $12 to $18.50. Okay then. As of February 2026, a 1-pound Canadian AAA beef ribeye steak at a major Canadian grocery store such as Loblaws or Metro typically costs between $27 and $33 Canadian. Based on 2025 to 2026 market data, a 1-pound, approximately 0.45 kilo, Canadian beef ribeye steak at specialty grocery stores in Vietnam range from approximately $12.50 Canadian to $18.50 Canadian, converted from 400 to 600 Vietnamese dollars. Dong. Vietnamese uses the dong per kilo for high-quality imported beef. It's cheaper to buy Canadian beef in Vietnam than it is to buy Canadian beef in Canada. What the actual fuck? Canadian beef is now served in more than 600 restaurants across Vietnam and stocked in over 4,000 supermarkets. Agriculture is a growing pillar of our trade relationship with Vietnam. This is from Meninder Sidhu, who's obviously a liberal. From beef and seafood to Canadian fruit. Great to sit down with them and see how this partnership is creating opportunity for Canadian farmers, workers, and exporters. Well, I guess now we know how Carney managed to spend $772,000 last year on food and accommodations. He's buying Canadian. Canada Food Fest. This is a Vietnamese flyer. Crazy. My Vietnamese is scant, but are these Canadian beef prices cheaper than here? 479. Yeah, 479,000 dong per kilo for what is that? I'm not 100% sure what that is. These are steaks. Yeah, it's absolutely cheaper. Bro explained to me how Loblaws has Australian steaks now for cheaper than Alberta beef. Yeah, what the actual hell is going on right now? I asked the butcher this question. He said it was the higher cost of heating the cattle in winter, fuel, shipping, wages, etc. And Canadian beef is grain-fed, and Aussie beef is grass-fed. I don't know about that one. I'm no beef expert and can't read Vietnamese, but I'm curious if this Canadian beef is cheaper than the same cuts here. Yeah, it does look like it is. $88.16 per kilo. Jesus, $40 a pound. It's insane. Speaking of insane, let's talk about Canadian politicians. They don't deserve it. Canada's Minister of Public Safety, Sathya Sangari, Ananda Sangari, aka Gary, voted against preventing foreign criminals from claiming asylum and reducing sentences for foreign criminals so they won't get deported. What's the word for when you vote for foreigners over the safety and betterment of Canada? That's from Kirk Lubomov. My response was pretty sure in any civilized country they'd call that treason. Fuck off, Gary, if that's your real name. It's not. Otherwise we'd be calling him Gary. Better question. Why allow foreign-born people with ties to terrorists into public office? Well, you don't need the ties to terrorists part. Why allow foreign-born people into public office? A foreigner voted against preventing foreign criminals from claiming asylum and reducing sentences. Our parliament is a total shit show. Yep. Only in Canada would the Minister of Public Safety vote no on public safety. Treasonous. Yep. One objective only, and it isn't public safety. He's compromised. Fire Gary. Did you just assume the government is lying? Me. Always. Yep. Gary Ananda Sangari at the LTT event in Canada celebrating Velupillai Prabhakaran. Oh, nice. Interracial couple fucks entire nation. That one needs to be reposted. That's from A. Safe bet. Average Canadian. Yeah. Tells you something when the average Canadians are posting shit like that. It appears that treason is no longer a crime. It's a political party. I have shit for brains. I'm not saying that. Liberal traitors. Notice from management. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Yeah. Sassy dungarees. Yeah. That's a good one. I'm not a gynecologist, but I know a cunt when I see one. Yeah. Liberalism is a mental disorder. These people aren't actually liberal. If you were actually liberal, you would want people to have more freedom so that they could ensure their own safety. You wouldn't be taking their guns away. Libtard, we did that. Canada, November 1st, 2026. That's what you get for not giving up your property you have owned for years. See you at the same time tomorrow, guys. Be good out there. Yeah. Oh, this is cute.
I do not.
I haven't played this one because I didn't want to bother, but this is fucking hilarious. This is our public safety minister, the guy in charge of the gun control, the gun buyback, being asked about gun licenses.
Minister know what an RPAL is?
Now, he was asked what an RPAL is. Now, a PAL, a PAL, in Canada, is a purchase and acquisition license for a firearm. The R is a restricted PAL.
Oh, Minister.
I do not.
No hesitation. I don't know what that is. It's your fucking job to know, Gary. Sorry, I'm going to start calling you what I should be calling you. Gary. Fuck's sakes, Gary. Did I hear laughter?
Oh, Minister.
I do not.
Yeah. People laughed at his ass. Rightly. And I'll point out that the speaker here, after the laughter, this look is meant to, encourage decorum in the house. Good fucking luck.
Does the minister know what the CFSC is?
CFSC is the Canadian Firearms Safety Council, I believe. That one I have to check. There's a lot of acronyms. It's definitely not certified. It's not certified functional strength coach. Canadian Firearms. Oops. Oh no, it's the safety course. Right, Canadian Firearms Safety Course, which is something I'm actually looking into taking. So we'll come back to Andrew Lawton.
I'm a minister.
I do not know.
So he doesn't know what the safety course is.
Member. I'll stipulate, Chair, that is the Canadian Firearms Safety Course that all gun owners in Canada have to do to get their firearms license. Has the minister ever done the Canadian Firearms Safety Course?
Absolutely not.
Minister.
Speaker, it's my third week on the job. No, I have not.
What does the fact that it's your third week on the job have to do with shit? How long have you been in Canada? I assume more than 3 weeks.
The honourable member. Does the minister know what safety classes and safety demands are expected of law-abiding Canadian gun owners? The honourable minister.
This is not about law-abiding gun.
Yeah. That's all we needed from there. Let's see. Okay, I want to avoid that issue as long as I can. Okay, let's go back to the groceries thing. Well, not really the groceries thing. From Eric St. Pierre. Question of the day. Are Canadians really so stupid as to wish starvation upon themselves? CTV News suggests that Canadian consumers call for a boycott of American-made food in light of tariff threat. No. No, we don't. With the looming threat of American tariffs on Canadian goods, some shoppers are swearing off U.S.-made products. It's not the same as not wanting to eat American food. And I pointed out, I refuse to believe Canadians are actually that stupid. Instead, I will continue to believe that not only does the news lie to us, but it tries to convince us to do things that will actively harm us. Yeah. Speaking of, we'll come to Tumbler Ridge. Because I didn't want to, but shit keeps coming up. From Ryan Garrettson, he says CTV is projecting, and they're projecting harder than a drive-in theater. Online misinformation is complicating the RCMP investigation of Tumbler Ridge killings. You mean online misinformation like it was a female in a dress? It was a gun person? It was identified as female? Do I need to go on? I'm not going to. What's the other story I have here? I have 2 stories left. Okay, we'll do this one first, and then we'll come back to this. So this is more of the gender nonsense. I mean, therefore I am posts, unreal. Canadian Crown prosecutors believe that a Grand Prairie unhinged lunatic who identifies as a gender-fluid individual and stabbed his 8-year-old daughter and assaulted his 7-year-old son should serve just 5.5 years behind bars. I'll point this out again. These were his kids. The man, who goes by the name Alice Michael Atwood, was released on bail after pleading guilty to aggravated assault. He called the vicious attack on his children a horrible error and a bad decision. He currently lives in a van in BC and Alberta and makes videos in which he says he, quote, makes magic by reading tarot cards and talking about his case. Here he is threatening people, saying they are breaking the law if they use his legal name and claiming that they are putting his children in danger. After stabbing his own child, he says he is afraid that if other parents talk about him to their kids, his children could be bullied. After the attack, his daughter was airlifted to a hospital for emergency surgery to repair her esophagus. She now faces months on a feeding tube, and the rest of the family must find ways to ensure their children's safety. But yeah, let's only give them 5.5 years.
Michael here.
This is 3.5 minutes of probable complete retardation that we're not going to listen to all of. Let's just get a flavor of how off the head Alice Michael Atwood is, shall we?
Hello, everybody.
Oh, dear God.
It's Alice Michael here. I just wanted to share a little PSA for you all, because some people don't seem to understand this, but there is a publication ban on my case.
Is there? Doesn't seem like there is.
That means that anytime someone shares something that has my full legal name on it in reference to the criminal matter that I am a part of, they're breaking the law. And you're also putting my kids in danger. Like, more danger than I already have kids in danger.
Oh, you're concerned about protecting your kids. From what, exactly?
Like, more danger than I already have.
You tried to kill them.
Have dealt with enough. The last thing they need is people talking about this in front of their kids, sharing the full information. God forbid one of those kids that they go to school with, which I don't know where they go to school, but one of those kids that they go to school with picks up on that and starts to bully my kids.
Okay, children are cruel fuckers. And you're right, it is potentially possible that they might bully your kids about who their father is. But this is not about protecting your kids. This is about protecting you. Because you don't want to be confronted with this.
Over it. Please, use your heads. Peace, love, and unicorns. Alice Michael out.
I think it's wild that people are like, we're gonna find you and we're gonna get you. I'm like, yo.
You live in a van down by the river, sir. You're not hard to find. You're also recording videos on a regular basis, and I'm sure you're probably not particularly smart enough to remove the location identifiers. Certainly not when you're in Vancouver.
I am a mentally unstable person who lives in a minivan, and I need a full psychiatric assessment.
You could always turn yourself in.
Like, I go around people when I have to.
Yeah, I'm good. Nuts. Throw the book. Not 5.5 years worth of the book either. And speaking of years that have gone by, February 14th, 2022, 4 years ago, February 14th, 2026, marked 4 years, and this is from Tamara Leach, since the Canadian Liberal government invoked the equivalent of martial law. It's Canada's version of martial law, the Emergencies Act, that would lead to the most egregious acts of tyranny committed against peaceful Canadian citizens. Now, I know this is still a bit of a touchy subject for a lot of people, so if you're watching this and you have something you'd like to say about it, by all means, go to the comments, come into chat, and let's actually have a conversation about it. That would lead to the most egregious acts of tyranny committed against peaceful Canadian citizens. Those citizens simply asked for a conversation and went ignored. I want to remind people that this is exactly the purpose of the stated purpose of the convoy, was to go to Ottawa and sit down with Trudeau and hammer this shit out, to talk like civilized people. You know, like Charlie Kirk used to do. Yeah. It's almost as if the conversation is not something they're interested in. And what happens when you can't talk to somebody you disagree with? Instead, they were mocked, vilified, and falsely accused of horrible criminal activity by politicians and media who knew they were blatantly lying to the Canadian public. 4 weeks have passed since the Federal Court of Appeals sided with Justice Mosley's ruling that the invocation was unlawful and unconstitutional, and there has been radio silence from the government and the MSM. Of course there has. They don't want to admit their mistake. They don't want to admit that they overstepped their bounds, and they sure as hell don't want to be held accountable for it. Why do you think Chrystia Freeland fled this country? Oh no, she was given an ambassadorship to Ukraine. Yes, and then quit the Canadian government to go work for Zelensky. You don't think that's flight from prosecution? Okay. Canadians are being ignored once again as the government attempts to sweep the worst breach of their rights under the rug without so much as an apology. Yep. And we'll have a quick look at some of the pictures. This Way for Freedom, Jesus Loves You. What horrible, horrible people they are. I understand flipping Trudeau off. No lockdowns, no mandates, no vax passports, freedom. Yeah. Imagine they wanted to preserve their rights under the Charter. Oh, I mean, the cops would have arrested this kid. I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but there was a coordinated effort to keep gas and diesel in these trucks, and the police caught onto it and decided to start stopping people who were trying to bring fuel to the truckers. And it resulted in a very creative... I do apologize for the cracking knuckles. My hands are starting to hurt. But it resulted in a very creative solution where multiple people took empty containers and basically intentionally got the police's attention to help the truckers out. Yeah. That's modern solutions, modern problems, right? Okay, so that's going to be it for the recorded section today. And I'll be gaming here shortly. So, if you have any comment you would like to make, there is a comment section. If you would like to come into chat and chew my ass out next week, or tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, I won't be available tomorrow. I have IRL things to do tomorrow. I don't know that I'll be here for the show. If you would like, you can always pop back on Tuesday. I do try to do this every day, so, except Wednesdays. Wednesdays is just the audiobook read. Speaking of, this week it'll be Moonraker Chapter 3 that I'll be starting on, and that'll be Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern Time. Let's see what else. Other than that, if you don't feel particularly confrontational, and in fact feel slightly supportive, you can do any of the number of things that are coming by on the ticker. You can support me with no money by chatting, commenting, following, liking, sharing. Please do not subscribe. Do not send me a Rumble rant. If you would like to support me financially, go over to my Ko-Fi and leave a donation there. Or wait until I have the merch store up again. And I'm hoping that'll be any time now. Let's see. If you do decide to donate on a regular basis, you will find yourself in the bottom ticker along with Sadie Sapientiae, Simon JJ, and Zenrab7. Let's see, what else have we got to talk about here? If you want to give anonymously, I will slip you into the Morangutan Gang. That is people who support me in any fashion, whether it's chatting, commenting, following, liking, sharing, interacting with me on social media, coming to my chats, leaving a comment, etc., or leaving a one-time financial donation. All of it is helpful. All of it helps me feel, supported, encouraged. If you want me to feel unsupported and discouraged, you can send me $100 on Ko-Fi and tell me to take a day off. That's a one-time offer, by the way. It only works once per person, so choose carefully. Other than that, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days. And this will be the end of the recorded segment. I will be continuing gaming from the live. So, as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.